I saw a beam of light everywhere. And then the moment I saw those beam of light, I thought to myself, the rapture is here.
It's like in the corner of her eye, seeing like a little boy or like a little ghost going to one of the rooms.
It's a journey in the self too, because you find your intuition and discernment. But we got to realize that there's duality here.
Maybe 6 or 8 times over the course of a couple of years, I would wake up to this dark figure standing at the foot of my bed.
The green agenda is the obliteration of the human soul. They use children to do that. They can't do it without children. They need pure souls, and you cannot conduct a black mass without pure souls.
When you see that there's darkness, Satan exists, or that there's evil on earth, or that there's actually demons or whatever, I think it's a frequency when we're all together, really.
The light started like flicking off and on. So it was like a toddler, like a 5-year-old or 4-year-old.
At one point it started to gruff. I heard howls. I heard like this puffing sound, and I was petrified. I had no idea what it was.
Well, the demons are here, and they are going to steal the children.
Welcome to the show, everybody. Listening to Apocalyptic Anomalies, where we shine light on the shadows to unlock all the secrets of our universe. I'm your host, Abner J. Valdez. If you have a crazy experience or story you want to share on the show, email me at apocalypticanomalies@gmail.com. That's apocalypticanomalies@gmail.com. Or you can hit me up on Instagram or Facebook. Either way works for me. Just get in contact with me. Today on the show, we have part 2 of Dana's experience. She shares her UFO and extraterrestrial experiences. This is a very interesting episode, so let's get into the show right now. Sit back and enjoy the show.
And they're trudging in, and are we scaring you? And their features are very sharp, and they had this model effect around their forehead. And I'm like, yeah. This is telepathic. And then, so they shapeshift to be more round, and I'm like, screw you, like that, like, just because you shapeshift doesn't make me like you anymore. And then, you know, like a bunch of French is going back. French equals F words to me, because I'm like, screw you. And then they're like, oh, we're here to save your planet. And I love this. We're here to save your planet, which means they're off-world, because a lot of people are like, oh, they probably came from inner planet or a different frequency, you know, because I do believe that other frequencies live on us. I think we are earthworms. It's kind of like, you know, there's amoebas running around on my skin that don't really realize that they're living on a planet called Dana. And I kind of think that we're a bunch of like amoebas living on Gaia, and we don't really get that. We think we're so important or something like that, you know, because I think nature is cylindrical or circular, and it shows us all the realms around and around. Like, that's the truth, and it's not a flat planet. Just gonna say. But anyway, so the next thing I know, oh, where's my little picture? I don't know if I have the little guy. So there's another picture. Oh, it's around here somewhere, of this guy that skinny. His hips are about this big, his arms are about this big, and he's very, very skinny, and he's got a lamp. Gosh, where's that picture? There. Oh. Because people like wanted me to draw these pictures so that they could see these aliens. I apologize, but anyway, so
It's okay. Take your time.
yeah, and it's on my Facebook and on my website or whatever. So he's all like, and he has this lamp, like a light, and it's over my feet. So I digress. I need to slow down. So I'm in the basement with my husband. It's like a Saturday or Friday night. Our children are small, so we go downstairs to have a date night, you know, because, you know, the bedrooms are all close, and, you know, we would wake them up. And so we're downstairs on a pull-out bed, and then I wake up with my head over the edge of the bed. That's what wakes me up, is like my head is pounding. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what? And I see these little plugs, these little creatures that are smaller than my knees, like about knee height, smaller, whatever that is. entering the room and we're having this conversation telepically, and I'm like, ah, god dang it. And then, my head is super pounding, and, I know my husband, his head is on the pillow as it normally should be. And I'm a little bit salty because I'm like, I can't even move or twist and turn without him waking up and like, why are you moving around? But suddenly my head's over the edge of the bed. I'm like, why didn't he wake up? Like, where's my hero? And then I'm looking at my feet where my hero is, and there's this entity with this lamp, and he comes out from underneath us, and he's very skinny. And I'm going to tell you, he's like Jack Skeleton. He's like the ET at the end of Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I'm like, oh my God, shit, Hollywood knows about you. Oh my God, so much disclosure. And in the same moment, I'm like, crap, I know you. As soon as the Greys were done with me, you started to show up. Because the Greys were probably done with me. Let's go back. When I, met Pat Nixon, she gave me the red rose. I think it was an end of an era. This was the end of my dad. This was like my dad's career was ruined because he didn't want me to go to Montauk. I became part of the super space program. I started to watch the spaceships, and who comes here but the skinny guy. And I remembered in this moment that I used to draw like this circle with the squirrely arms, kind of like a stick man. Like, back in the 70s, we didn't have much. We didn't have phones and all these kinds of things. Like, we learned how to whistle and do stupid things like yo-yos. And we'd play horse and whatever and hangman. But I'd make this hangman with these squirrely arms. And I would do it in class. And then I would sit back and I'd rock and I'd laugh. And when I did that, even in that moment as a second grader or third grader, I knew it was a trauma response. And here's this entity, and he's coming over me. And I'm like, oh my God, you're Jack Skeleton. You're these things. And he's smiling at me, and he's wearing a Speedo. And I'm like, I've never seen an entity with a Speedo before. And then I black out. Okay. The next morning I wake up. Okay, because my husband and I, we are suburbanites. Okay. And I'm just like, meaning that very conservative. In case the house goes on fire, I've got my bra and underwear on and everything because I don't want my children to see me naked or in lingerie or anything like that. So we wash up and we just act normal. That's what the suburbanite means to me. Acting normal. Doritos and football. Okay. So that's what I mean by that. So I wake up and I'm wanting to wake up in suburbia, but I'm like, snap. I'm naked. And that is not normal. And I'm like, oh, shit. And I look over the edge of the pull-up bed. Yeah, there it is. There's my socks, because this is before menopause when I still got cold feet and I would wear socks to bed. There's my socks and my shorts, and enveloped into my shorts, built in, is my underwear. And then separately is my t-shirt, just like this one, with my bra, just like this one. And the bra is inside the shirt. Like, who does that? I don't do that. When I go to bed, I'm like, it's either or I hang it up somewhere, or kind of fold it. Like if I'm at the gynecologist, like I want to look like I'm a normal person and I'm very dutiful and I'm folding stuff. But I mean, like, I'm at home, I'm with my husband. Why would I do that? Well, you don't put your underwear inside your shorts. Nobody does that. So I'm like, oh, snap. I melted. It's aliens. Where's George? What's his face? It's aliens. I'm like, oh, snap. Yeah. And then I go to the bathroom, and this is the thing that I forget in so many interviews. I looked at my face and I'm modeled. I'm like Jazada Dax from Deep Space Nine. I have this brown modeling effect all the way down my neck and my face. I'm like, I I look bad. I mean, I look like worse than Jazadic. I look like a Star Trek person. I literally did. It was terrible. And I literally took it and I looked it up later, like, oh, you can get hormones from birth. And I did because like my husband's like Greek, and I'm like, oh, that's the Greek thing. So I had like this stripe down my belly. A lot of women will laugh and be like, oh yeah, because I'm like, what the heck is this stripe down my belly? I'm like, you Greek person, whatever. And I'm like, hormones. I had no idea. And then like they say that through hormones, you can get this thing on your face or through certain light effects. And I'm like, oh, snap. So whatever this light was, this frequency made this thing on my face. And I had to literally go and get it sandblasted off and lasered off through like, people at fancy, places like, oh, how are you today? And they're putting aloe on your face, whatever. But it took a lot of work to get this stuff off of my face so I could look normal again. Wow. So now I'm like, and then I wrote the book and I'm like, oh, I'm sitting there thinking, oh, they took my eggs. And I'm all PO'd about that. Oh, they took my eggs. But it wasn't until I was writing my book that I'm like, oh, snap. Because if I'm telling you the story correctly, and if you're really thinking about it and going through the scenario, you realize I had my husband's DNA inside of me too, right? So they didn't not only had my eggs, but they had my husband's DNA. And I'm sorry, and this is why I get emotional, and I'm really trying to be detached, which is like really so hard to do, to talk about these things because I'm a mom. I love my sons so much. To think that my children are out there, my full-grown children are out there, and I don't know at what capacity. Are they warriors? Yay! What are they doing? Or are they clones? Are they being cloned? Are they being duplicated? Because I read Dune. If you know Duncan in Dune, are they being harvested for organs? What's going on? What's going on with my full grade children? So that's why, like, a lot of times I'm just, trying to be more of a reporter in my own story because I don't even want to think about, I can't even dip into what that storyline is. So anyway, then
Take your time.
yeah, so then let's get into the other side of Dana. Like, I don't know who I am. My sister tells me you're adopted, she hates me. She sees all the weird things that I can do, all these kinds of things. And I know it, and I'm feeling it, and I'm feeling ostracized, and I'm watching humanity, and I'm feeling everybody, including myself, we're all gaslit, because to me, aliens are real, but why aren't they in society? And so, moving forward, again, about the time where they took my DNA and all that kind of stuff, I go to an event with a good girlfriend, my bestie, and a healing seminar because I started to study, different healing modalities and all this kinds of stuff, like Reiki and blah, 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 whatever, all these things. I'm exploring, I'm trying to figure out myself while still being in denial. And trying to be a suburbanite who cares about toilet paper and Doritos, because that's my level of concern. That's where I want to end myself. I'm like, let's just be concerned about chalk on the sidewalk. That's about it. And I go to this event, and it's, like a whole weekend. And it's the last day. It's Sunday. It's like the end of Sunday. And this guy is starting to say to people, look into my eye, and there's probably 100 people here, which, again, I'm going to say, please, if you are in the Twin Cities area and you went to this event, please look me up, please find me. And because I know the host and the event guy, he's not going to talk to me. But if you are this person, please talk to me. Anyway, come forward, please. So here we are in a hotel event room, like a big conference room, big. And there's at least 100 people here. And he's going around. He's like, look into my eye. And he's going from person to person. And I didn't know what he's up to. And then my girlfriend, about the third person, she's like, oh my God, did you see that? I'm like, no. Because like, I'm just going to say I'm benighted a lot of times. I'm kind of like a big golden retriever. I don't know. I don't care. I'm offline. I'm not getting into this. Oh, he shapeshifted. And I'm like, oh, God, please no. What? And so then I'm watching along and he's like going from person to person and he's shapeshifting as he goes along with each person. I'm like, oh my God. But I'm not engaged. I'm really not thinking about it. Him shapeshifting. And as he's shapeshifting, to describe it to you, you can still see him. So how I would say is like, you could see me, but then there's an overlay. So it would be me with an overlay of this, that, or whatever. He's, shape-shifting into other forms. Okay. And he's doing it, and he's going around the room. Then he gets to me. And we are in the back of the room. We're like the last people. And he does my girlfriend, and he comes up to me. And I'm going to tell you, he's like, look into my eye. And I'm going to say, he's a long way away. This is a big conference room, a big hotel. Like it's the Hilton. It's not small. It's not like the Best Western. It's a big one. And it's Bloomington. Look it up. Anyway, and all of a sudden, the wheels on the bus start to fall off. And so how it happens, before there would be just an overlay on him. Now he goes away and there's a transformation and a literal person is standing in front of us, like some little old lady or some young man or, I don't even know. There's an actual person standing there and they're in their actual clothes doing their actual thing. So like, let's say there's an actual person from the Civil War and they're like, and they've got the whole gun and the whole military stuff going on, and they're really, really there. And then we start to see some background. And then what happens is the entire room falls away. But this is how I'm experiencing it. The whole room falls away like a hologram, like a holodeck on Star Trek. And I'm thinking, oh, Hollywood disclosure. Holodecks are real. And I'm witnessing this. And seriously, like, there's no walls and chairs anymore. We're all standing there and there's a mountain or there's a cabin or there's some old lady's kitchen. Whatever it is, we're like in TV land, but we're freaking there. And I don't know how else to tell you that, but 100 of us, were freaking there. We're there. That was my experience. So then I couldn't take the energy anymore because like this was amazing to me. I'm kind of loving it. And I'm kind of like, I can't hold this frequency. It was kind of like from like the 1200s or something. He looks super cool because I'm like, my girlfriend's like, do you see him? Like, he's not normal. Like, he was walking around like a hologram. Anyway, so I went up to his staff afterwards and I'm like, they all backed away like I had leprosy. But one woman was kind enough. I'm like, did you all see that? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, have you ever seen this before? And she's like, no. And then I got her phone number. And later on, long story short, I was able to contact the host and I'm like, hi, I'm Dana. And he goes, I know who you are. I'm like, were you pissed at me? And he's like, yeah. And he was pissed at me that I called him and all that kind of stuff. And long story short, I'm like, do you teach about that? No. And so to me, it's just like a parlor game. And I'm like, well, why did you do that? And why did that happen? He said, he didn't know why he did it, but he was like, Spirit said to allow it. So I don't know what the lesson was. Maybe the lesson must have been for me, knowledge base of who I am. But it's also what the aliens do. They shapeshift. And I think we need to, my message is we need to understand that this whole realm is like the matrix. It's all frequency. And that let's go back to thought, word, and deed, and music, and vibration, and all these things. And it's kind of like we need to come to grips with who we are as creators. That we have power and we have responsibility as creators, and that we are divine. And my thing is like, to be whole, holy humans, we have to understand that there is spells being cast upon us through music, through entertainment, through the media, all these kinds of things. And they happen, especially when we're being lulled. A lullaby, which is why we need to be awake and aware of who we are in our divinity. So I hope that wraps it up a little bit. I mean, like, because I could go on forever, but I mean, like, read my book. I'm like, I don't even believe half the things that have happened to me. I don't believe in a lot of things. I try to vet things. I try to slow things down and say, what could be true? What is true? Where is the truth? Because I want my voice to be a true voice. Something to hang your hat on. Because especially now that AI and falseness is happening to us, we need to find and come together in truth. And I think a lot of us are aware of that in our hearts. And we need to always be aware of that and mindful, and not let them use our mind and our thoughts in order, as we watch a movie or something like that, because they're creating their dystopia. They're manipulating us because they can't create. They can only make things, and they can move things around, but they can't create. Women are a divine vessel. Women are a portal in which we, as humans, we come in as little water astronauts, right? We come in through a water vessel. We're little water astronauts. And then we come in to this realm. And we incorporate the cell or the shell that we're in, but we are immortal beings. We are immortal beings and soul. And we need to recognize that. And we need to grow up and understand what our responsibility is and accept our responsibility and not be afraid of it and just be more aware and awoke.
Yeah.
So.
And that's amazing. Very well put. I had a question about your experience with the
I can hardly hear you.
hypnosis.
I don't know how to bring here. Let me see if I can bring your voice up a little bit more.
Yeah.
Here,
Can you hear me now?
Something happened. I've been just lost in my own train of thoughts.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can't really hear you. Something must have happened.
Okay.
It says a new recording has been created. So did we go offline for a little while? Because I'm not surprised if it happened.
Yeah, so it went off for during the hour, so I had to restart the recording.
Oh, okay.
But I got to look into all that after. Can you hear me okay?
I can't hear you through my through my headset.
Okay. Did it die or something? Because I feel like I'm on loudspeaker right now.
Wait. Oh, no. I don't know. Yeah, I can hardly hear you, but you can say it and I'll just try to But okay. I warned you about this.
Yeah, for sure.
I know. They're trying to shut me down.
Yeah, for sure. I could see what you were talking about.
I'm gonna click on a couple things. Let me just see.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Happened maybe an hour into it, but I had a question. About the spaceships that you saw when you were standing there. Mm-hmm. What did they look like? What did the spaceships look like?
Okay, so that's a great question, and I do believe that I'm a 20 and out or 20 and back. If you know what that means, because there was a lot of black ops people that used to come and hang out and drink cases of beer and get shit faced, and they would confess to me, and they would say they were black ops, and they would confess to me their horror stories in the military, which means to say we probably served together, and they see me as an adult even though I was a child. So that's a whole thing. Need to get into that at some point.
Can you just explain what 20 and back means for the audience?
Right. So 20 back, just to understand, children are our treasure. Children's minds are incredible. There's a movie called Ender's Game. Watch that movie. That's exactly kind of how it is, only this child, Enders, was aware of the things that he was doing. He thought he was playing a game, like a tech game, like Halo or something like that. He didn't know it was real. But they literally use children to do these war games. So, and young men, like people in their 20s. So what happens is that there's a secret space program. This is very real, people. This is very real. And what happens is that they can take me right now in this moment, right now, and off-world me to another planet. And I know that sounds crazy. Or they can off-world me to whatever it is. What they do is they freeze time and space, because that's how nobody sits in a tin can. It's called folding time and space. That's how the real shit gets done. Anyway, so they can off-world me or do whatever they want with me, and I'm gone for my pension for 20 years, and then they bring you back to the exact space and time, to the exact word that you're speaking. But meanwhile, you were off-world, you grew up, you did 20 years, you probably had a family, you did all these things, but you have no pension, and then you come back here to good old US of A as an idiot, and that's what happens. And that is actually what our space program is. That is actually what's happening to many, many people. And I do believe that there's many veterans that are sitting on our sidewalks, on our streets, that are homeless, that think that they are out of their minds, that are taking drugs, because guess what? They have a clue, and they do remember that they were off-worlded, that they were 20 and back. But how do they talk to people about that?
Right.
How do they think they're sick? They think they're ill. They think they're imaginary. That's a bunch of baloney. It very much pisses me off. I'm sorry. I don't mean to swear.
That's okay.
But I do believe, because of the things that have happened to me throughout my life, especially with veterans coming up and talking to me, like they know me as an adult. They know me as a grown-ass adult. They confess to me as a grown-ass adult, and I'm just a child. And I'm like, why would you talk to a little girl like this? Which says to me, I don't remember, but I was 20 years out on a program, a government program. Most of us think we were off-worlded to Mars or a different planet or whatever system that they want, and then the moon, and then we come back. And I know that sounds crazy, and that's also why I've kept my mouth shut.
Not at all. You're on the right show, on the right platform for that. So.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, because these people would sit in the backyard. I'm 8 years old. I'm with my mom, my dad. I'm a little girl, and I'm with adults. And I'm acting like I'm not drinking, not that. I'm just sitting there. But all of these adults are talking to me like I'm an adult. I guarantee you, these men who said they were black ops knew me, knew that I was 20 and back, knew me as an adult. And that's kind of been my whole world of, like, when I watch TV shows, like growing up, I was always watching army movies and stuff like that. I was always like, but I kept myself out of the military because I was kind of like on this 3D world and planet, because I was like, I am not signing up for that. I'm not signing up for that. I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot. But so that's what 20 and back means, is that people, there is a super space program that's going on, that's been going on, that's probably always been going on. But anyway, so these spaceships, when I was witnessing them, because I think, that's the program I was put on, but that was a different program than the 20 and back program. So I'd be on these spaceships, and I would be at the bay door. We'd be, so I called myself, oh God, I'm trying to slow it down. There's many parts that I would play. I would be eyes on the ground as a person witnessing from the ground. And I did that a lot. And I would watch UFOs that way. UFOs that are in the 3D realm, running around in the Twin Cities area or up in the skies, 3D realm, I'm eyes on the ground. But I'm also playing a part on the ships. And I've been told that I'm part of the galactic, not Federation, but the Council. So the Council is different than the Federation. The Council is kind of like, we are the overseers, making sure that everybody's playing their part and everybody's being equal and that everybody's playing nice with each other. And that makes sense to me. Because if I'm on these ships, I'm on these sky ships. I was also on waterway ships because there's big shit that's happening on rivers and waterways. And also what triggered me was that 3-body problem thing on Netflix because they were going through the canal, the Panama Canal. And I'm like, oh, snap. They had some things in the back windows. I'm like, oh, I walked through the break room. I remember that shit, and always there's the trilaterals, the ABCs, the, elemental Ps, whatever you want to say. They're not the normal insignias that we would recognize, but they're recognizable. And there's always I would watch dignitaries, especially on the waterways, coming on and off, like helicopters coming on and off, and it's all frantic when they're doing this. So I was on land, sea, and air because I was also at different airports watching different airplanes coming on and off. So that's why I'm like, okay, I could see where I was, with the Federation Council, because I'm witnessing all of these the vehicles and crafts doing what they're doing. And I'm always kind of hiding, witnessing, watching what's going on. But a lot of it, especially with the aircraft, they're picking up people, they're picking up souls during the night. So that's what the spacecraft was. There was never really a war with these big ships. The big ships come in, they hover over the areas, the landscape at night. They're picking up loosh, which is people's dreams, their energies, what's going on, all that kind of stuff. That's what they feed off of. And if you think that's crazy, go read a Bible. Go get your damn Bible out and start reading that stuff, because it really plays, whether you're a Christian or not, because I haven't read the Quran or any of these other things. They probably talk about it, but it's very much disclosure of what's going on today. Sure. And when I was a baby, I told my sister, I'm like, we're in the end times. I'm 4 years old telling my sister we're in the end times. She's 7 years old. She's like, every generation thinks that. I'm like, oh, no. And I really, really do think it's today because, as I said, I met this galactic AI, and that's what's different right now. We have this technology that's going on in this realm that's different from before. Or is it? Because you have to go back to the Egyptian times and all this stuff, because I feel like there's a certain amount of technology that would happen. And then the problem is that we humans, man, we're still base. We're still basic. And we still got a lot of reptilian nature inside of us, and we're too caustic and we're too explosive. We're not evolved enough. Maybe to handle what's going on, but to be exposed to these other creatures. It's kind of like having a snake. You put a little snake that has venom or that will lash out at you, or any kind of a creature, you put it in a box. That's where we're at still as humans, people. I mean, everybody thinks, oh, the aliens are going to come down. Let me tell you this, first of all, the aliens that I have met cannot handle our frequency. Because let me tell you again, and this backs it up, we're dense. We're dense. We're 3D dense. This is a very dense world. It's very hard as a spirit to be this solid. We're almost as solid as a rock. Solid as a rock. Do. Anyway, we're dense. That's an old song. That's how old I am. Anyway, so it's hard to be here. And these other entities, they flow with the speed of light and stuff like that. So it's really hard to dumb themselves down to interact with us. So first of all, no gray alien is going to come here and want to work at UPS or something like that, because they can't. They don't have the frequency. They don't have the density. We're Neanderthals, basically. And secondly, we're too explosive. So we need to grow up. However, I'm just going to say that doesn't mean that the powers that be, the reptiles, the Anunnaki, let's just say it right here, because they're in control of this planet, that they might not want to be screwing us all up again, like scrounging for toilet paper and hiding in our houses like little mice, because that's what we are, little slaves to them. That could happen. And the only reason why I'm saying that it could happen is because that's what a lot of people are talking about. And that, again, is why we have to be mindful, because they can't create it. But if they implant it into our thought forms, they can. Because again, hello, humans, thought, word, and deed. And you have to be very, very careful of your thought, word, and deed. Because these are the nasty kids stealing off your math project. They're stealing your answers. And they're taking it for their own, and they're getting the good grades, and they're getting the diplomas and all that kind of crap while we're doing the hard work. We have to wake up and realize that this is what's going on. And I'm sorry, but all of the religions and all of the faiths, especially the Hindus, they will all tell you this. So while, yes, I can reject a lot of these things, but I also embrace them because it's wisdom. Sophia.
Yeah. Very true.
Thank you.
So, can you explain to us what the spaceships look like? What did they look like? Can you describe them to us?
Right. So there's a number of different spaceships. We typically, the white hats, the ones I kind of work with, have the smaller spaceships because we're just kind of like the frigates or whatever you want to call them. We're like the zoom, 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 which is why Star Wars like super freaked me out. That whole big ship, they come in with these big ships. Some of them are pointy looking. Excuse me. There are many pointy looking ones, such as, Star Wars. But there was also this realm of very rounded shaped vehicles that were more like how like our airplanes looked in the 1950s, very rounded. Our airplanes today are kind of pointy looking, but I knew in the 70s, like, oh, they're rounded. And I'm going to tell you, those were from Tartaria. I think that's how you say it, Tartaria.
Tartaria.
Because I was also off-worlded there many times that they brought it here, but then they were like, it's more profitable to be using the humans. So they off-worlded it. That's a connected world through kind of a stable wormhole. And that's how these ships come back and forth. Okay, so that's going on. But in the meantime, 2 years ago or something like that, when the China balloon was coming around, that was just kind of a false flag because, and I watch and I witness these things, and I do watch the TV, and I watch a lot of shows that a lot of other people don't because I protect myself, but I'm here as a witness, eyes on the ground again, right, people? Here's the China balloon, and then right then they insert the story of, oh, we're going to have Zeppelins. We're going to have Zeppelins, and these Zeppelins are for satellites. Oh, yeah, we need Zeppelins in our atmosphere for satellites. I'm like, what a bunch of bullshit, because that's literally this entangled Tartaria planet, the secondary Earth. That's them. That's their tourism. They're visiting us. And they're dealing with us. So, but I've watched that their Zeppelins have changed in the form of their skins. Their skin is less metallic and it's more, God, I don't want to say like, it's organic. Let's put it that way. And I'm like, why is it being more organic? Like, what's going on with the wormhole? Why is it more organic? That's a whole nother thing. So we have a bunch of different ships going on. I'm also going to tell you, like today, somebody posted and showed me like this spaceship looking cloud. I'm like, that's all good and everybody gets uptight about it. But whenever I see spaceships and they're hiding in general normal clouds, just a blob. You know, like, come on, people. It's just a blob. It doesn't look like a spaceship. When I see the spaceships, when I see the big ships and they're here during the day, it just looks like a stupid cloud. Nothing important, okay? But here's the difference. I can see and know the captain who is controlling the ship. Because these ships are interfacing with the captain. You see this in movies. You see the one like some weird looking alien. They're not usually weird looking aliens. They look like really pissed off humans is what they look like. And they look at me and it's usually the side eye like, I'm looking at you. And then I give them, I'm looking at you too. So they see me. It kind of shivers me in the boots, but I'm kind of like, I'm looking at you too. Sorry, BITCH. Yeah, so they know I'm here and I know they're there, but it's not like, don't sit there and look at these spaceship looking clouds. That's kind of like, they throw us all these false flags like, oh, that's what it is. No, it's way more subtle. It's way more insidious. That's the truth.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very interesting stuff right there. You mentioned earlier when you were in that conference room with hundreds of people. Do you feel like when that experience happened, you entered into like a different dimension?
Well, I think I walk around in a different dimension, first of all. But in the moment, it was just a lot of high energy. It's just kind of that whole, almost like a wormhole, like that. I'm just feeling this. It's just this thing. So I'm feeling. It's a vibrate. Like I'm in this thing. It's a lot, and that's why I'm like, I literally found myself climbing up on this conference chair. I'm literally grabbing the seat. I'm standing on it like a flipping gargoyle or something. I don't know how else to describe me, like a monkey, like, I don't know. I'm just standing there and because I backed up because the energy was so high. I couldn't get away from my chair. I backed into my chair to the point where my feet were on the chair and I'm just taking this vibration. I'd never encountered this before. Or have I? I think I've had a propensity because I think I don't realize and I don't understand all the things that have happened to me, or I don't know who I am. Because let me just tell you, the secret papers that came to my doorstep started in 1960. I'm born in 1962. My mother had to be pregnant, but my sister told me my mom didn't want me. My mom had my brother, 14 years older. She's 7 years older. My mom didn't want me. She didn't want to be pregnant. Okay. My dad wanted me. And my dad went to the Korean War, and that's a whole big story. And I think he's a Manchurian candidate, and he was super controlled. And I think he negotiated to have me as a child. And I think that's how that came in. And I'm just going to say that when these gray aliens came over my crib and I would black out, they seemed friendly. Not that I like them. I don't like them. But I call myself a cow out in the field, man. I'm just an animal that's pinned in a cage, man. And here comes the farmer and his dog. And I don't know what you're up to. And I don't like it because I don't understand. And that's just who I am as a human. I'm judging because I don't understand. I'm benighted. I don't know what you're up to. I don't know. But I think that's what was going on. So that was kind of scary for me. But I feel as if, because there's a lot of weird things that happen to me and do happen to me. I interrupt things. I I don't even do healings anymore because I just try to deny who and how I am. I don't even know. I'm still exploring it, and I'm in a complete state of denial. Even though I came out with this book, and mainly I did it, like I said, for my grandchildren, and everybody's like, "Oh, you have to expose it for other people." And I'm like, well, this has been not the most fun that I've ever had doing this. This is a pilgrimage. This is very lonely. You don't get paid for it, and you're treated like dirt. It is a pilgrimage. But in a pilgrimage, in a holy pilgrimage, you're doing it because you're called by God. And I have been dragged up to heaven. That's a whole nother story. I've seen angels, lots of stuff. And I want to deny it. I just want to stay a suburbanite. I just want to stay normal and eat Doritos and have people over and talk about football. I mean, like, that would be great, wouldn't it? But apparently that's not my path. And my path is a pilgrimage and keeps me poor. But it keeps me rich in that I'm trying to help. I'm trying to help others in what the truth is. I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's very well put. Dana, can you give the audience maybe some type of advice or some final words, some final thoughts about what they could take from all this that you have shared with us today?
Right. And I think I mentioned it earlier in my book, because first of all, I wrote the book. And I showed it to my neighbor. She's the one that there was a microchip that came out of the back of my neck, witnessed. I know, I got a lot of stories, microchip coming out. And I wrote the book and I showed it to her about 3 years in. She goes, well, it's very vanilla. I'm like, okay. And then I said a prayer to spirit. And then they're like, oh, you got to bring out the reptiles. And I'm like, oh, shit, snap, here it comes, but whatever. And I didn't want to do any energy work. But then it's kind of like, if this is what your one chance and your one voice to help your grandchildren or for others, and you want to help people be divine and holy humans, you got to do this. So I have these energy things that will shake you up, that will scare you maybe into who and how you are, your thought, word, and deed, because I'm like trying to get you to be the most powerful person that you are. But I said in my book, if there's one takeaway, the one thing that you can do, it's the act of kindness. Because earlier what I was saying is they want to keep us divided. They wanted to keep us hating each other. They want us to be in fear. These are all lower vibrational frequencies. That's how they control us. That's the loosh that they love. They can't stand love. They can't stand happiness. They can't stand joy. That's where you need to be. Skip, hop, jump, celebrate, be kind to one another. Every day, try to find a secret way just between you and God of how you help somebody, because their eyes will light up. You will awaken the divine spark in them. That is so powerful. I can't even tell you. And that is the power that they don't have. That is our secret power. That is the secret to all of it. It's your divinity. And remember who you are, that you're divine. And you're powerful. And I love you. I love all of you. Because we are all one. Right?
Very well put. Dana, one last time. It's okay. No problem. Take your time. Very well put.
I mean it,
Very, very beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Dana, one last time for the audience. Can you please tell the audience where they can find you and your work?
So, I have DanaLouise.com, but you can find me, Dana Louise, on Facebook. My book is called This Is Gonna Sound Weird. And you can find it on Amazon, and they mess with my book. They do mess with my book, the inside and the cover. They mess with my book. They mess with me. They shut me down. They banner me and all that, whatever, ban me and blah, blah, blah. So I'm on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. I just started TikTok. I'm the worst. And I'm on Twitter, which is X, like, what is that, Xfinity or what? Like, why did you name it that? That's the dumbest thing. And I have a YouTube. But go to DanaLouise.com if you get kerfluffled. You can find most of it there. Send me a cup of coffee. I've been, like, giving my books away. I'm trying to plant seeds, but everybody's support will help me keep the lights on. And because, you know, I did this one big event in Florida, but I can't afford to do that. That was on my dime. I'm retired. I have no money. I can't do that again. So I can't go and talk at other events because I don't have the means to do that. So all I can do is just volunteer. I'm on a pilgrimage. So if you want to help a pilgrim out, put more, please, sir. Put some porridge in my pot. You know, I don't want that. But those monies would help me. You'd have to be a lot. I mean, because there's airfare involved or a hotel room. But I'm just trying to. I don't know. I'll probably be done and going back to just taking walks and say screw all this next week. But if I'm supposed to be on this path, you know, come find me, send some love. I'm just here to create community because that's what we have to do, people. We can't be divided. Standing together, man. Standing together in our truth. Standing together as love, as humanity, as humans. Humans. Okay? That is the thing. Stop hating each other. We have to come together.
Yeah, very well put. And you heard Dana, guys. Please support her movement. Please support her channel. Help her, you know, stay afloat with her book and everything, guys. Very, very well put. I appreciate your time, and thank you for being a guest on Apocalyptic Anomalies.
Thank you so much. I so appreciate it. Thank you all. Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you for watching the show, everyone. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. And remember to support Dana and her movement. You can find her on DanaLouise.com, and you can find her book, This Is Gonna Sound Weird, on Amazon.com. And remember, guys, to share the show because that's the only way that this podcast will grow. Make sure to give the show a 5-star rating and review on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or anywhere you guys might be listening to the show. And if anyone out there listening that wants to share an experience and be a part of the show, please reach out to me because I'd love to hear from you and I would love to have you on the show. Until next time, everyone, stay safe, stay blessed, and remember to innovate honesty and always illuminate the truth. Bye.